Most people think weak bones only happen after a big fall or in very old age. But here's the truth. Osteoporosis is often called the silent disease. Why? Because in its early stages, it doesn't shout it, whispers. The signs are subtle, easy to brush off as just aging. And that's why so many people only find out they have osteoporosis after a painful fracture. Imagine this. 1 in 2 women and 1 in 4 men over 50 will break a bone because of osteoporosis in their lifetime. That's not rare. That's common. But here's the hopeful part. If you catch the warning signs early, you can take real steps to protect your bones, your independence, and your confidence in daily life. In today's video, I'll walk you through 10 early signs of osteoporosis you should never ignore. Some of these will surprise you because they don't even feel like bone problems at first. But if you know what to look for, you can spot the danger long before it steals your strength. We'll cover everything from back pain and shrinking height to dental clues, weak grip, even changes in your nails. Each sign will be explained in simple terms, with practical steps you can take today. And by the end, you'll not only know what to watch for, you'll also have a clear action plan to keep your bones strong, even after 60. So stay with me, because missing these signs could cost you more than just bone strength. It could cost your freedom of movement. And I don't want that for you. Have you noticed nagging back pain that seems to stick around, even when you haven't injured yourself? Many people chalk it up to just getting older. But in some cases, it's actually your bones crying for help. One of the earliest signs of osteoporosis is tiny compression fractures in the spine. These aren't the dramatic breaks you'd expect from a big fall. Instead, they're small cracks that slowly weaken the vertebrae, the bones that stack up to form your backbone. Here's the interesting part. When these microfractures happen, you may not even feel a sharp pain at first. Instead, you might notice a dull ache in your back, or realize your posture is changing. Maybe your shoulders are rounding forward more, or your clothes fit differently because your frame is literally shrinking. Research shows that losing just an inch or 2 of height can mean your spine is weakening. Think about it. If you once stood proudly at 5'6" and now measure closer to 5'4", that's not just normal aging. It's a red flag that your bones may be losing density. The danger here is that people often ignore these changes until the pain gets worse. But the sooner you notice, the sooner you can ask your doctor for a bone density test. A simple scan can reveal whether those backaches are more than muscle stiffness. Imagine catching this early. Instead of dealing with a painful hip or spine fracture later, you could strengthen your bones with nutrition, exercise, and treatment today. It's about protecting not just your back, but your independence and confidence to move freely. So the next time your back aches for no reason, or you notice yourself standing little shorter, don't brush it off. Your posture may be telling you something important. Here's something many people overlook. If you've broken a bone from what seemed like a small accident, that could be one of the strongest warning signs of osteoporosis. Think about it. When you were younger, you might have slipped, landed hard, and walked away with nothing more than a bruise. But with weaker bones, even a minor fall or sometimes just twisting the wrong way can result in a fracture. The most common areas: wrists, hips, and the spine. Doctors often call these fragility fractures, and they're different from fractures caused by major accidents. If a small stumble, bump, or simple movement breaks a bone, that's not normal aging. That's a red flag. Here's an example. Let's say someone trips over a rug and falls lightly onto their hand. For healthy bones, that's a sore wrist at worst. For osteoporotic bones, it could mean a full break that takes months to heal. And worse, once you've had one fragility fracture, your risk of another one doubles. This is why paying attention to little accidents matters so much. They're not little when they reveal your bones are fragile. Each fracture isn't just painful, it also limits your independence. A broken hip, for example, can make it difficult to walk confidently again, and recovery can take away precious months of active living. But here's the good news. Spotting this pattern early allows you to step in with prevention, a bone density scan, strength-building exercises, and better nutrition can all reduce your risk of another fracture. So, if you or someone you know has had more than one broken bone from everyday activities, don't ignore it. That's your body's way of saying, check your bone health before the next fall cost you more than just a cuz. When you think about osteoporosis, you probably picture fragile hips or weak spines, not your teeth. But here's the surprising truth. Your mouth can reveal early signs of bone loss long before a serious fracture ever happens. Your teeth are anchored in your jawbone. If that bone starts thinning just like the bones in your hips or spine, your gums may begin to recede. Suddenly, your teeth may look longer, or you may notice more gaps forming between them. Dentists sometimes call this bone loss around the teeth, and here's why it matters. Jawbone loss isn't just about dental health. It can be an early warning sign that your bones, in general, are losing density. Studies show that people with osteoporosis often have weaker jawbones, making dental exams an unexpected but important checkpoint for bone health. Have you noticed dentures not fitting the way they used to, or teeth feeling a little loose? These can be subtle signals that your jawbone isn't as strong as it once was. For many, the dentist is actually the first professional to spot osteoporosis risk simply by looking at x-rays of the jaw. Of course, gum changes can also come from periodontal disease, but when combined with other warning signs like back pain, shrinking height, or frequent fractures, it's worth connecting the dots. The good news, regular dental checkups don't just protect your smile. They can also give you an early alert about your bones. If your dentist mentions bone loss in the jaw, don't ignore it. That's your cue to ask your doctor about a bone density test. So next time you're in the dentist's chair, remember, your teeth may be telling you more than you think, not just about oral health, but about your overall bone strength. Here's something you might not connect to bone health: the strength of your hands. Believe it or not, weak grip strength is one of the earliest and most reliable clues that your bones may be losing density. Think about it, your hands are used every day, whether it's turning a doorknob, carrying groceries, or opening a jar. If you've noticed these tasks becoming harder, it may not just be muscle weakness. Studies have shown that grip strength is closely linked with overall bone density. In fact, doctors sometimes use a simple hand grip test as a quick screening tool for osteoporosis risk. Imagine this: two people of the same age. One can carry a shopping bag without effort. The other struggles, even though they don't have arthritis or an injury. That second person could be showing an early red flag that their bones aren't as strong as they used to be. And here's why it matters. Grip strength isn't just about your hands. It reflects the strength of your entire musculoskeletal system. A weak grip has been linked not only to fragile bones, but also to a higher risk of falls, which can trigger fractures in the hips or spine. The hopeful part is that this is something you can monitor yourself. Try squeezing a stress ball or lifting a half-gallon of milk. Does it feel noticeably harder than it used to? That's a cue to pay attention. The action step here is simple. If you notice weaker grip strength, don't shrug it off as just aging. Ask your doctor about bone health screening, and consider adding strength exercises to your daily routine. Even light hand weights or resistance bands can improve both grip strength and bone density over time. So remember, your hands might be small, but they can send a powerful message about your bone health. Listen carefully. When most people think about bone health, they don't look at their nails or hair. But here's the fascinating part. Your body often gives small surface clues about what's happening deeper inside, and brittle nails or thinning hair can sometimes be an early sign of weak bones. Why? Because your nails, hair, and bones share similar building blocks. They all depend on proteins like collagen and minerals like calcium. If your body is struggling to maintain healthy bone density, it often shows up in the quality of these tissues too. For example, if your nails crack, split, or peel more easily than they used to, it could mean your body isn't getting or absorbing enough nutrients. The same goes for hair that feels thinner, weaker, or sheds more than normal. Of course, stress, hormones, and aging also play a role. But when these changes appear alongside other warning signs like back pain, loss of height, or weak grip, it's worth paying attention. One study found that women with osteoporosis often had reduced nail strength compared to women with healthier bones. It's not proof on its own, but it's a useful early clue. The good news: nails and hair can be responsive to lifestyle changes. Eating calcium-rich foods like yogurt, leafy greens, and fortified milk, along with vitamin D from safe sunlight exposure, can help. Protein is also critical. Without enough, your bones and nails both suffer. So next time you clip your nails, take a quick look. Are they thinner, more brittle, or breaking more often? If yes, don't panic, but do treat it as a gentle nudge from your body. Combine this sign with what you notice in your back, posture, or energy levels, and you'll have a clearer picture of your bone health. Remember, sometimes the smallest clues, like your nails, can be the ones that save your bones. Before we continue with the rest of the early warning signs, let me pause for just a moment. If you've found this helpful so far, could you do me a quick favor? Tap the like button that tells YouTube this is valuable, and it helps more people over 60 discover these health tips. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of the signs we've covered so far, back pain, frequent fractures, dental changes, or brittle nails, surprised you the most? Your stories and experiences not only help others feel less alone, but they also guide me in choosing what topics to cover in future videos. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe to Senior Vic Health if you haven't already. That way, you'll never miss a step-by-step guide designed to keep you strong, independent, and confident at every stage of life. Alright, let's get back to the next important sign. Have you ever noticed that your doctor's chart says you're shorter than you used to be? Many people laugh it off as shrinking with age, but losing height is often one of the clearest early signs of osteoporosis. Here's what happens. As bone density decreases, the small bones in your spine, the vertebrae, can weaken and collapse slightly. These tiny changes add up over time. You may not feel a sharp pain, but the result is visible. Your overall height decreases. Doctors generally say losing more than an inch is worth paying attention to. For example, if you used to be 5'6" and now measure closer to 5'5" or less, that's a clue your spine may be weakening. Even small changes matter, especially if they happen within a few years. Sometimes this goes hand in hand with posture changes. You might notice you're leaning forward more, or that your clothes don't hang quite the same way. Friends or family may even comment, "You look shorter." These observations, while casual, can be an important signal that bone loss is taking place. The risk of ignoring this collapsed vertebrae can eventually lead to a rounded upper back, sometimes called a dowager's hump. Beyond appearance, it can affect breathing, digestion, and overall comfort. But here's the empowering part. If you notice height loss early, you can act. Regularly check your height at home, write it down, and share any changes with your doctor. A bone density scan can confirm what's happening, and lifestyle steps like weight-bearing exercise, calcium, vitamin D, and medical treatment can slow or even prevent further loss. So next time you step on the scale or measure your height, remember, the number isn't just about weight. It could be a vital clue about your bones. Do you find it harder to bend down and tie your shoes, or twist to reach something on a shelf? Many people assume stiffness and reduced mobility are simply getting older, but sometimes they're actually early signs of osteoporosis. Here's why. When bones lose density, they don't support your joints and muscles as well. Microfractures in the spine or hips can restrict flexibility without you even realizing it. Instead of sharp pain, you might just feel stiff, less steady, or slower in your movements. Think about everyday tasks, bending over to pick up laundry, turning to look behind while driving, or carrying groceries upstairs. If these suddenly feel harder, not just tiring, but genuinely difficult, it may be more than muscle loss. It could be your bones struggling to keep up. One subtle clue is hesitation. People with weakening bones often unconsciously move more carefully, avoiding quick turns or heavy lifting. This isn't just about comfort. It's your body's instinct to protect fragile bones from stress. The danger here is that limited mobility can create a vicious cycle. The less you move, the weaker your muscles and bones become, and that weakness makes future fractures more likely. But here's the positive side. Movement is medicine. Gentle, weight-bearing activities like walking, light resistance training, or even balance exercises such as Tai Chi can strengthen both bones and muscles. The key is consistency, not intensity. So, if you've noticed stiffness creeping into your daily routine, don't dismiss it. Pay attention, check with your doctor, and consider adding small amounts of regular exercise. By staying active, you not only ease stiffness, you also protect your bones and preserve your independence. Remember, mobility is freedom. Keeping it strong is one of the best defenses against osteoporosis. Sometimes, osteoporosis doesn't begin with your habits, it begins with your family tree. Genetics play a major role in bone strength, and if your parents or siblings have had osteoporosis, your risk is much higher. Think about it this way. Bone density is partly inherited, just like eye color or height. If your mother or father experienced fractures, especially hip or spine fractures later in life, that could be a red flag for you. Doctors often ask about family history because it provides valuable clues that lifestyle alone can't explain. Women, in particular, face a higher genetic risk. If your mother had a hip fracture, studies show your own risk is significantly increased, even if you eat well and stay active. Men aren't immune either. Family history matters for them too. This doesn't mean your future is set in stone. What it means is that you need to be proactive earlier. If you know osteoporosis runs in your family, don't wait for the first fracture. Ask your doctor about a bone density scan, ideally before age 65 for women or 70 for men, or even earlier. If family risk is strong, the empowering part is that knowledge is prevention. By combining family awareness with healthy habits like calcium-rich foods, vitamin D, weight-bearing exercise, and fall prevention, you can reduce your risk dramatically. So here's your action step. Take a moment to reflect on your family history. Did your parents or grandparents struggle with fractures? Did anyone mention brittle bones? If yes, don't ignore it. Share that history with your doctor. Remember, genes load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. Knowing your genetic risk gives you the chance to make smarter choices today, so your future can be stronger. When most people think about weak bones, they immediately think of calcium. And they're right. Calcium is the primary mineral that gives bones their strength. But here's the catch. Without enough vitamin D, your body can't absorb calcium properly. That's why deficiencies in either nutrient often show up as early signs of osteoporosis. So what should you look out for? One clue is muscle cramps, especially in your legs or feet. These can happen because your body is pulling calcium from your bones to keep your muscles and nerves working. Another sign is persistent fatigue or low energy. If your bones aren't getting the minerals they need, your whole body feels the strain. Some people also notice frequent dental issues, brittle nails, or even tingling sensations in the fingers. These subtle symptoms may not scream osteoporosis, but together, they can point to a lack of the nutrients your bones rely on. Older adults are at particular risk because the body becomes less efficient at absorbing calcium and producing vitamin D from sunlight. If you rarely get outside, or if you avoid dairy and fortified foods, your risk climbs even higher. The hopeful part is that these deficiencies are easy to test and treat. A simple blood test can show your calcium and vitamin D levels, and with guidance from your doctor, you can improve them through diet, safe sun exposure, or supplements. So if you notice muscle cramps, fatigue, or other small but nagging symptoms, don't just brush them off. They could be your body's way of saying, "My bones need more support." Addressing it now could prevent a serious fracture later. Strong bones don't just need calcium, they need the right balance of nutrients working together. For women, one of the biggest turning points in bone health comes at menopause. And the reason is simple. Estrogen. This hormone does far more than regulate the reproductive system. It also protects your bones by helping them hold on to calcium and maintain density. When estrogen levels drop sharply during menopause, the protective shield disappears. In fact, women can lose up to 20% of their bone density in the first 5 to 7 years after menopause. That's why osteoporosis is far more common in women over 52. What does this look like in daily life? You may notice increased back pain, more stiffness, or even fractures from smaller accident signs that were easier to ignore before menopause. Some women also see faster changes in posture or height after this transition. But here's the important point. Menopause isn't just an ending. It can be a new beginning if you pay attention. Knowing that this stage brings higher risk means you can be proactive. Bone density scans, exercise, and nutrition become even more important during this time. For men, hormones also play a role. Low testosterone, especially later in life, can have a similar effect on bone strength. Though the process is usually slower, that's why both men and women need to think about hormones when it comes to bone health. The empowering takeaway is this: menopause may mark the time when bones become more vulnerable, but it's also the perfect moment to step in with prevention. With the right habits and medical support, you can slow bone loss dramatically and protect your independence. So, if you're in or past menopause, don't see it as too late. See it as your signal to take charge of your bone health starting today. Now that we've covered the 10 early warning signs of osteoporosis, let's talk about what you can do if you've recognized some of them in yourself. The key message here is simple. Bone loss is not an overnight process, and with the right steps, you can slow it down or even strengthen your bones starting today. The first step is screening. If you've noticed back pain, loss of height, or any of the other signs we've discussed, ask your doctor about a DEXA scan. This painless test measures your bone density and gives a clear picture of where you stand. Early knowledge is your best defense. Next is nutrition. Make sure your diet includes enough calcium and vitamin D, dairy, leafy greens, fortified cereals, and safe sun exposure can all help. Don't forget protein. Bones are part mineral, part protein, and both matter. If diet alone isn't enough, supplements can fill the gap, but always under medical guidance. Then, there's exercise. Weight-bearing and resistance activities like walking, lightweight training, or yoga stimulate bones to stay strong. The goal isn't intensity, it's consistency. A few minutes a day can add up to major benefits over time. Don't overlook lifestyle factors. Quit smoking, limit alcohol, and keep an eye on medications that may weaken bones. Small adjustments here can have a big impact on long-term bone strength. Finally, remember prevention of falls. Clear clutter at home, use proper footwear, and practice balance exercises to reduce your risk of accidents that could lead to fractures. The bottom line: osteoporosis may be common, but it's not inevitable. By combining awareness of the early signs with a solid action plan, you can protect your bones, your independence, and your quality of life. Let's quickly recap the 10 early warning signs of osteoporosis: back pain and posture changes, frequent fractures, receding gums, weak grip strength, brittle nails, loss of height, stiffness and limited mobility, family history, low calcium and vitamin D symptoms, and hormonal changes like menopause. Each one on its own might seem small, but together, they tell an important story. Your bones may be losing strength. The earlier you notice, the sooner you can act and the more freedom and independence you can preserve. So here's my invitation. If any of these signs sounded familiar, talk with your doctor about a bone density scan and steps to support your bone health. Prevention is always easier than recovery. If you found this video useful, please tap like, hit subscribe to Senior Vic Health, and share in the comments which sign surprised you most. Your feedback helps me bring you more clear, practical health advice designed just for you. Stay strong, stay active, and I'll see you in the next video.